Hello, and welcome to episode 45 of What If Civilization Started Over. Let's get into it. Welcome to World War One. Just have to say this is my 7th time recording this thing. I'm planning to record the full of World War One today, and the peace treaty, and the follow-up episode. I'm also attempting to. And I'm going to try to upload them all today, which is June 17th for me. So let's get started. Well, how's this war going to start? It's going to start in the Lightning Alliance, specifically with Poland. Poland, on a cold winter day in the late 1800s, is going to send a bunch of their armies down into Austria. And Switzerland, and invade them rapidly. The Austrians and Swiss were not expecting this, but the Polish have been planning this for a long, long time. Austria has been taken out, and Switzerland is taken out as well. And the yellow team will also push into Switzerland, and with Switzerland basically their entire army being destroyed by the Polish. Yeah. So those two fall very quickly. The Polish have been planning this for a long time. They've done this to, get those two out of the war, the inevitable war. But this is going to cause the Square Alliance to declare war on the Lightning Alliance, officially starting World War One. Let's get into it. If we go up to the Scandinavian front, the Polish are pushing into the great Swedish country very quickly. The great Swedish country, Russians are forcing the Swedish to take resources out of them, and the Swedish don't like that, so they fall quickly, wanting to be Polish. But they're having a little bit of a harder time pushing into the pink country. Over in this front over here, the blue team has a pretty strong offensive force, but defensive they don't have much strength in. So they're going to have an operation to, push back Poland and make their fronts a little bit farther away from the capital. Russia's going to do a pretty similar thing. In the southern parts here, Russia's going to struggle to push back, but in the northern parts, kind of important to Poland. Yeah, the southern parts are also pretty important to Poland, but not as important. They do want to, but then they do push back here, and it's looking like they might want to encircle it. And sorry if I sound a little bit sick. Sorry about that. The blue country will also push into here, and so will the pink country. Yeah. So this is the current stage of the war, and another country, or alliance, is going to join this war in order to stop the Russians and the Polish from, expansion. It's the purple team. The purple team sends their armies up into Poland to rapidly expand into the Balkans and Austria. They quickly take out the pink country, with the pink country being distracted by the blue country. They also take out the blue country, but they do push back against Poland until Poland sends some of their forces down in order to stop it. But the purple team over here in the Balkan front is very successful. Over in Turkey, if I can get there, the Turkish country will be kind of getting rid of this because Russians don't really like, the people don't really like Russians ruling that area. And then they push into the blue country until some of their troops come in and push them back, which makes a sort of stalemate. Over in this front, this area, important area, a majority of the Russian troops on this front are here, so they're pushing back here. But the Russians are also pushing in to maybe encircle the blue country. Yeah. But now it's time to go to the blue country. Because the blue country is going to invade the Bulgarian country. This is a swift operation to take out the rural areas of the country, which they have taken out a majority of them. But then when they get too close to the capital, the Bulgarian offensive forces come in. And I said before, the blue country has strong offensive forces, but not very strong defensive forces. So they're mostly on defense right now, so they're getting pushed back greatly. Same thing with Poland. Poland's also pushing back. And the defensive forces aren't really working well because they don't really have good defensive forces. And then the blue country is going to get, and then a spearhead is going to be made and connect with Bulgaria to encircle the blue country. And now everybody is pushing into the blue country, and eventually the blue country will be forced to surrender over to all the fronts around them. So currently, the Square Alliance has been basically kicked out of Europe, the four main members. Four smaller members, the blue country, the pink country, the Austrians, and the Swiss, have all been kicked out. If we go back to this front, the Russian frontier, Poland having a few less. It's going to be pushing back a little bit, but not very much, as Russians will continue to do more offense, more invasions into Poland, and eventually get to Kaliningrad. When they get to Kaliningrad, the Poles will just push back. Yeah. If we go over to the pink country, the Poles are succeeding in the pink country, and currently they're pushing up in order to get to the capital. These troops here are succeeding in the winter because there's troops from the Scandinavian areas that are in support of Poland, so they're close to the capital. Yeah. But then Poland is going to do something in Scandinavia that will completely change the tide of this war greatly. Poland is going to invade the Norwegian country. The Poles, they just did. The reason they do this, they want to unite all of what the Swedish country once was and all of their old triangle alliance that was once there. One of the old triangle alliances that was once here, it collapsed after World War Zero, and they want to control all of it. It controlled all of Sweden and the entire British Isles. The Polish want it all. And eventually, they all pushed in and the Norwegian capital was taken. But it's not just Norway that's invaded. It's also France, because Britain starts an invasion on France. The gold team and the fascists, the fascist gold team declares war on France. The yellow team declares war on France. And the British will continue to push in. And the French are almost all the way pushed back. Until the French start to push back a bit because of colonial resources. The yellow team and the British do have them. And they are pushing back just a little. Until they're not, because with the gold team fascist armies being very popular, with the people being very strong, and the colonial resources from the British colony and the yellow team colony. Oh, how about that? We'll do that later. And also, Iberia. The yellow team does an invasion on Iberia and Corsica, but mainly Iberia. They take out these Corsican areas of once the blue team, and now they control all of the blue and yellow teams where they want the original areas. So, the yellow team wants control over the entirety of the Iberian Peninsula. Ever since their full control over the Iberian Peninsula collapsed in episode 4, I think. Episode 5, it collapsed. They had it in episode 4, but now they don't. Despite not having full control over Iberia for hundreds of thousands of years, there's still unity in Iberia. And the Yellow Team does its swift operation in order to take the Iberian country out of the war and take all of the Iberian and French colonies. The Yellow Team believes that if they can take out France and Iberia, they will be able to control the world. They will be able to control the entire Triangle Alliance, because this is all the Triangle Alliance that is left. Oh, and also Britain, up here. Britain is also invading Ireland in order to try to take them out. The Yellow Team eventually does this, and eventually they encircle the capital. Then I will put that out of the way. And the morale for these Iberian troops is very low. So some of the troops just start surrendering until the only parts of Iberia that are left are the capital, to the Iberian colonies. But then, right before the Yellow Team gets on the outskirts of the capital, something great happens. Iberian troops from the Americas land in Iberia. Seeing Yellow Team troops, they fire. And this is hundreds of thousands of troops going in to here. When the Iberians hear about this, the Yellow Team, they push back. The Iberians push back and go straight towards the Portuguese coast. And same thing with the armies. As they push back and eventually make a spearhead and connect with each other. And then they make 2 more spearheads, one down and one up. Actually 3, all to the side. And they're very successful because the Yellow Team, ever since the invasions of those armies, has been very disorganized. So one spearhead succeeds to the ocean, another does, and the other does. If you can see, these armies are trapped, and even this island is taken. So eventually, they're going to go one part of Iberia at a time. They start with this section here, and eventually these guys surrender. Then they go for this section, and eventually they also surrender. These guys just surrender and go and flee all the way back to the Yellow Team. And eventually, the Yellow Team is almost all the way pushed back out of Iberia, but they're still struggling in the Catalonian area. Yeah. If we go to France, resources from the colonies have arrived. The British are almost all the way pushed back. Almost all the way. And the Gold Team takes the rest of their territory, and the French start to push into the main core territory of the Yellow Team. The Yellow Team uses some of their armies to push back, and Catalonia is fully captured back. The Yellow Team invasion of Iberia has failed. And even the Irish push back against Britain. And now it's just a big naval battle between these two countries. Alright, so that stuff has happened. But something else is going to happen that is going to make this war a lot harder for the Triangle Alliance. Try to guess. Corsica is going to do an invasion on the Purple Team. And the Purple Team doesn't realize this, because how it works, the Purple Team's capital, I'm pretty sure, is on a mountain, and even if it's not, it's somewhere on a mountain. Let's just say there is a mountain there. I don't know that well. But they're used to going on top of the peak of the mountain and seeing the Corsican borders. They're friendly with Corsica. But then they see Corsican armies, they think, oh, they're just on their side of the border guarding because of the war going on. But when they see it on the second side, they think, oh, that may just be a mistake. But when they see it on all sides, and Corsican troops go straight to the capital, the purple team goes into a state of emergency. They start rapidly taking resources out of the Americas, and the Polish will push back against the purple team, and even reach the Adriatic Sea, which they have tried to prevent ever since, well, they've invaded. The gold team will even push in a little, and the Corsicans will even push in even more. This is a full-scale invasion of the purple team by Corsica, and they even take parts of the southern Italian peninsula, pushing, and they even push into some North African coastlines. They believe they could take out the purple team and make the Corsican Empire the true purple team. But when those resources arrive, they go through that port, over through Africa, all the way to here. Some African troops, purple team African troops, arrive into Corsica, and the African fronts are getting pushed back. They get pushed back so far, they're almost out of the war. Maybe in Africa, they're gone. As the purple team troops start to arrive, and Bulgarian troops will come in, landing in the Italian peninsula, and, well, pushing back the Corsicans out of their capital and pushing them back out of the Italian peninsula. Yeah. Sicily. The Battle of Sicily begins. Sicily is one of the most important islands. Corsicans have been the biggest thorn in the purple team ever since they formed. But this is because of Sicily. So the Battle of Sicily begins. Purple team troops going to surround the Corsicans. Then eventually, after months and months of fighting in Sicily, the Battle of Sicily is over, and Sicily is captured by Corsica. This is a major, major loss for the Corsicans as the gold team pushes into here because the Corsicans, Mediterranean trade, like the Western Mediterranean Sea and the Eastern Mediterranean Sea, have been separated by Corsica, which kind of makes it slightly more difficult for the Triangle Alliance to trade with certain Circle Alliance members. So the purple team captures this, and they land in Sardinia, one of the most important islands in Corsica. The Corsican Empire falls within a few weeks, and eventually all that's left is Corsica. Now let's finally go to the colonies. There's been more stuff going on here, as this colony here is very weak in the yellow team. The people here do not like the yellow team. They absolutely despise the yellow team. So they come in, and the citizens give open arms, and the yellow team colony falls. And then the Iberians will be invading into the purple team, taking out what the purple team claimed and pushing into Panama. They will also be pushing into the Bahamas and Cuba. Yeah. Over here, lots of stuff going on. The major coastlines of the yellow team colony in South America are being invaded by the Irish. And same thing with the purple team. Major coastlines being invaded. They don't really want to go into the major Amazon area until the yellow team is, well, gone. Yeah. And yeah. And then they also push into the African colony of the yellow team. The Irish and the French will do that as well. And also, let's look at this major thing. Oh wait, yeah. The Battle of whatever this thing is called in real life, has just ended. And now the Iberians will continue to invade into the Purple Team African colony, and so will the Irish. So currently, this war has been majority in Europe. And, well, kind of has been in Europe. But now, one event is going to completely change the tide of this war for one side. It's going to happen in the Caspian country. Caspian troops are very mad that the blue team has taken more and more control over these two territories over time. So Caspian troops are going to go into their rightful territory and take this other one back. Then another fleet of them is going to go into the northern part and also take that back. But that wouldn't really cause a war because that's their rightful territory. But then they're mad. Some troops are mad. And some of them start to invade into this country. Into the main territory that actually is controlled by this country. Then Russian troops will take this area. But then Iraq invades. This will cause the Star Alliance and the Square Alliance to declare war on each other. This is a big event. This country here is falling very badly, as Iraq troops will take the capital, and the Caspian country will also, take major parts of the country, and the rest of this here, to avoid other countries getting it, Russia's going to take it. But then Iran is going to do something. They're going to send some of their troops, not just into this red country, because this red country is kind of not liked by the green and blue ones. Yeah, so this one will fall kind of quickly because Russia is kind of taking resources, forcing these countries to take resources out of all of them, all these countries. But Iran has had troops on these borders for a long time, and the Russians haven't ever put any troops on the borders. So then, sometime in the early 1900s, the Iranian armies are told to invade into not just the pink country, not the white country, not just this lake, but also the orange country. They also command the blue country to invade into the orange country as well. This is a major setback because all of these countries, their morale is just gone. They don't like the Russians. They would rather be controlled by the gold team than the Russians at this point. Yeah. Then they surround the capital of the white country, and it's taken within a few weeks, a few months later, the orange team capital was taken. And a couple days after that, the purple team capital was taken. This swift operation has gone very well. They want all of Central Asia. This is a major setback for Russia, as they don't have territory to take resources out of anymore. But this is going to be like some sort of chain reaction, as the yellow country seeing this is going to get permission from the main leader of the Diamond Alliance, China, in order to invade the northern enemy, the pink country. This country was once part of the pink country. They want their yellow team empire, and shortly after the yellow team invades, the Chinese will send troops in as well, and so will the blue team, which is mostly Chinese troops. And the pink country will continue to fall, and eventually their capital is taken. The pink country will also be forced to surrender, and the rest of this, the green team is going to go ahead and control all of this. But this country here, why did you decide to join the Square Alliance, Mr. Orange Country? Because this Orange Country is very weak. All of its resources are gone as well. Russia just loves taking resources out of their countries, out of their allies. So this country is going to be invaded very quickly, from all sides. And after about a week after this thing started to get invaded, it's just surrendered. Yeah. So far, this has been better than my original plan. If you saw the community post, which as of recording, I don't think anybody has seen it yet. But I I'm trying to make this better than it originally was, and I think that's going successful so far. If we go to France, something here happens, as British people are also out of morale. Morale is gone in the colonies of the Americas. Morale, just willingness to fight, is I think what that means. Correct me in the comments if you want to. Actually, just do correct me. Morale in all of the Central Asian countries, just willingness to fight. All these Central Asian countries, the entirety of the colonies, all the colonies of the Lightning Alliance, all of that is gone. So this British colony is going to quickly fall because people will continue to surrender even before the French get there. Some people will even start riots and even support the French. Some rebellions would take place. Some major coastal cities will start revolts and take down the British flag and put up the French flag. The British don't really know about this until some boats arrive from France into Cornwall. And eventually, the Irish will invade. They see these people. The British are kind of not doing anything. So the people will continue to support the French invasions. And eventually, this colony will be forced to surrender over to the French. Yeah. So currently, things have been going well. Now we go back to the yellow team. Going well for the Triangle Alliance. We go back to the yellow team. The French will continue to absolutely destroy the yellow team. The gold team's a little bit more in trouble. Is a little bit harder to fight. But then, the Iberians will make an invasion into the yellow team and surrounding the capital. If we go back to Corsica, purple team troops land in Corsica. They take the capital, and this marks the end of the Corsican Empire. And eventually, about 2 weeks later, the yellow team capital was taken, which will force the yellow team to surrender. The gold team, hearing this, is going to quickly take as much territory out of their colonies as possible, and the rest, part of it will go over to Iberia, and that's not supposed to happen. And the rest will just go over to the French. So France is divided, and it has been for a while. If we go back to these yellow team colonies, let's just, the purple team and the Irish will just kind of split. And the only real fighting, this is just claims over. The actual fighting in this is going on the coastlines, the actual major areas. But over here, the Irish have a little bit less to worry about, so they're going to be winning over in these coastlines. Sorry if it's a little trying to make this as good as possible for you. And this yellow team colony will also quickly surrender over to the Triangle Alliance. But at least there's no fighting between the French and the Irish, as the Irish people in Africa now only have to focus on the purple team. Yeah. So, things have been going well. Scandinavia is still going pretty well for Poland, as the pink team's capital is taken, which will force the pink team to, surrender. They were at least a little bit stronger of an opponent for them, but when they reach Finland, they're having a little bit of a harder time. Because Russians are more focused on Finland than getting back all those other territories. Yeah, sorry for my sneezes, my sniffles. The Polish have planned to go into the Finnish capital, use those Finnish stuff to go in, get really close to the Russian capital, and take that. But that wasn't actually their plan. That was just a fake plan. Because the Russians will use Finland to push back, but then they see there's no troops there. They just take it without any fighting. But then, after about 5 months after the Polish invasion of Finland, the mass Polish invasion of Russia begins. Operation Barbarossa, Operation Barbarossa Bunwixo has begun with Poland. No Germany, not Poland, just Poland. Poland invades into Russia quickly. After a couple weeks, about a month later, the lines are here. Russian troops are focused on this. Not this. Some over here, but most of them are in Finland. Oh, and this island here, it's Finnish now. It was Polish. I keep forgetting this island, like the something islands. I don't know what they're named, but I know they begin with an S. The Slavics, SL, I don't know. But the Polish invade into Russia, surrounding the Bulgarian fronts and also invading into them. The purple team over in this front also will push back against the Polish, because Polish troops are focused on Russia, and Bulgarian troops will also push back over here. And then more troops will continue to invade into Ukraine. And this will be a very successful campaign, as Ukrainians do not like Russia. The Polish promised freedom to the Ukrainians if they win the war. Freedom, separation from Russia. They also invade into where St. Petersburg is, and that was a major city. They also invade into Finland from behind. They also invade into Finland through here, and Russian and Finnish troops will also continue to evacuate out of all of this area in order to save the motherland in Russia and Finland. Because these two areas connect and Finland falls. After a couple of weeks, Finland will fall, and then Finland will be forced to surrender. This operation has gone really successful. Polish troops then even get really close to the capital and then make a big encirclement. The encirclement goes very, very successfully. But then something else happens in Iran. Oh yeah, maybe not something else, because Iran will also rapidly invade into these Central Asian countries with basically no resistance, as Iran will just kind of go in and take control of all of these. And also the blue team will also push into the green team. Yeah. With the other blue team troops. Both these blue teams in Siberia are pushing into the green team. Still, no morale. Then the green team just surrenders, and then Russians will just go in and take control over the majority. That's not supposed to happen. The rest of the green team. Yeah. And Russia is about to fall until something else happens. Something big in over in the over in where civilization started. Civilization started over here. The red team rebels away from the green team and the gold team. This will be a major loss for, well, the Lightning Alliance, as the green team will fall because the red team has had many rebellions ever since it was taken over a couple episodes ago. So some Polish troops will start to evacuate as the capital is not encircled anymore and Ukraine gets surrounded. Eventually, Ukraine will be forced to surrender, and eventually, Polish troops will fall all the way back out of this area. Polish troops are surrounded and taken, / bombed by bomb warfare. Polish troops will continue to go in and destroy. No, Russian troops will continue to go in and destroy Poland. Poland is falling. Yeah. They'll push all the way back to these lines. And this territory is Russian now. Yeah. We haven't talked about this area. The Heart Alliance hasn't gotten involved in this. Well, the Heart Alliance is going to declare war on Yemen. Oh, you thought I was going to make the Diamond Alliance declare war on the Heart Alliance? No. Well, Yemen has gotten its first involvement in World War I. But because the Heart Alliance and the Diamond Alliance really don't like Yemen. They want Yemen out of, well, Asia. They want Yemen out of Asia. Yemen seeing this is going to be very, very mad. And they're going to do something very, very bad or good for them. They're going to do something with the Iran alliance. Yemen declares war not just on Iraq and pushes them out of the main Arabian area, but Iran also. They push them out of the Persian Gulf, go around, make massive naval landings, and also use their Indian colony in order to invade. Yeah. These invasions, if I can get the star out of the way, are going very successfully. Like pretty much all of Iran's troops. Oh, I found this little spot here. Pretty much all of Iran's troops are over controlling all of this. So some of them are going to evacuate, but Russia just won't take any of it because they don't want to fight anymore. They'll focus on, well, Europe. And they are going to rapidly invade into Iran. And actually, they surround the capital. And also reach up into the Caspian Sea. Yeah. They also make massive spearheads in order to make more encirclements like this. And eventually, all these encirclements will fall. This was the greatest mistake because Yemen, well, as the Iran troops will come back, something else major happens in Yemen. The great Indian country will declare war on Yemen. Yemen's telling them to, declare war on them, but the rest of their alliance joins. Shortly, the pink country joins, then on two sides, and Thailand joins, also taking Yemeni colonies. Yeah. And even the Philippines joins. Some of the major colonies around the world are just falling. The world and Yemen, the Yemen is falling. Yeah. And as the troops will continue to invade, the biggest ally, the Papua New Guinea country, invades Yemen. This was very unexpected. Yemen, which says they will not go down without a fight. If we go back to, Iran. So, Iran is going to be pushing back into Yemen, and the Iranians will also push back around the Caspian area and in the capital area. Yemen will be also pushed back in the less rural areas, and like I said, Yemen won't go down without a fight. So Yemen is also going to make a push back towards the capital in these areas, and they're going to capture these areas, and then some more, and then the blue country is going to start taking a bit of land from Yemen. And also, Iran is going to push back a lot in this area and reaching back over to the Persian Gulf. Yeah. And then Iran will continue to go into the Persian Gulf area and capture it from Yemen. And then the Grey Indian country will also continue to invade their invasions of Yemen. And even the Brown country will do their invasions. And eventually, these Yemenis troops are encircled, and eventually they're forced to surrender. So Yemen's operation, in order to take out the entirety of the Star Alliance, has failed greatly. Yeah. Now we're going to go over to the Americas because the American country is going to do something that might change the world for them. They are going to do a full-scale invasion of France. Yes. Not Iberia, France. Just France alone. And this operation is going to start and quickly succeed, as the Americans have many armies going into the French territories. They also surround the Great Lakes and go up to the Hudson area. And also, the operation is succeeding. People are a little bit tired of France, and some people want to be independent, part of the American country, in the democracy of America. It gets to about this level. They even capture this area, not that much. They even capture this area that the British once had. They even capture that area that the British own, and even start an invasion into Iberia. This operation is going successfully. They even make it all the way down to Florida, which will also cause the Purple Team to push back in Cuba, not the Bahamas though, because this operation, kind of like Poland, might not go as well, because the Iberians, with certain troops surviving, will push back in this area and also continue to push into the Americas, and eventually the Iberians will kick out the Americans. And they will also start to do an invasion onto the capital. This will cause some American troops to go out of the British territory, out of this territory, and also some people will go in and take back these Hudson territories. And eventually, all of this territory is taken. And then the French will start to invade these rural areas, and they will quickly capture all these unpopulated areas of America. They will also invade Wisconsin because, like everybody else, America is maybe not like everybody else, but America, a lot of people are coming out of these territories in order to fight for America. The people are, but when this happens, the Americans are fully pushed back, except out of the capital. And the Americans will get their final breaths because their operation has quickly failed. The American troops, the underpopulatedness of the Americas, And eventually, after long months of fighting, the American capital is taken and America is out of the war. Yeah. Now if we go to this thing, Iraq. Iraq is going to do something very unexpected. They're not going to invade Yemen, but not just Yemen. The Israeli country, and the Turkish country, and the Russian country, and even the Caspian. Yeah. The Iranians got a new ruler, and this ruler leaves the Star Alliance. This ruler is out of the Star Alliance. They even take the Israeli capital. But then, he becomes unpopular, and rebellions start to rise in the area around the capital. They even surround the entire capital, and the Iraqians are forced to push back. When troops go out of Turkey and everybody else, Turkey will start to push back. And so will Israel. Israel's the biggest one to push back, as they kind of retake all of their stuff. And even Yemen, despite their failures so far in Iran, will continue to push back. And Iran will also push back into the Caspian country and reinstate it. Even Russia is going to push back. By the way, but when they get to here, the Russians will stop fighting, as these rebels will continue to flourish throughout the northern parts of the Iraq country. All of this northern part will be taken. The capital is eventually taken. And, well, yeah, they're forced to surrender. These rebels will stay neutral. They're out of the war. That ruler was Machari Robinson. That ruler, he took over the country while it was invading a bunch of countries. That ruler wanted full control over Iraq. They did not want any of Iran to have any control over. So he rebelled in order to try, and he took over the government to try and, well, do that. He succeeded temporarily, and then he fell to this. Yeah. If we go back to Europe, the purple team will continue to push back against the gold team and the Polish. Yeah. They even take the Swiss and Austrian capitals and do a spearhead up to the gold team capital. The red team takes the gold team capital, and the French will do more invasions of the gold team. Yeah. If we go to Britain... Wait, why did the French invade? I think that was just a mistake. Actually, they do invade in order to take over this territory. And the French will actually be succeed. Oh, yeah. Wait, what? Oh, yeah. I haven't recorded this part in a while, so... The French will also invade and actually take over it. But then the Irish will invade Yemen and Scotland, and so will you. But the French take you. So yeah, Britain is gone, and now Yemen has been kicked out of England through Scotland, obviously, which is going to cause Yemen to declare war on the Triangle Alliance. Quickly after this happens, Iberians will do mass invasions of Yemenis American colonies, like ginormous invasions. These invasions go really successfully as they take over all of California, and French forces will also push into Yemen. There's not really much over here, so the French see this as free land. Eventually, this part is taken by Iberia, and the French will push back almost all the way to take this part. Alaska is all that's left. The Iberians will also do an invasion of Hawaii and take it. And also, the purple team will declare war on Yemen in the Americas. But then something else will happen between two alliances that will change the course of this war. The Iberians and the Purple Team will meet up in the island of Corsica to make an agreement. Stop fighting for land. So basically, if the Purple Team with the rest of the Circle Alliance signs this agreement, then they will stop fighting the Triangle Alliance to fight Yemen and Poland in order to, but in return for some of their lands. The Purple Team and the rest of the Triangle Alliance will agree. So now, the Triangle Alliance and the Circle Alliance are not at war anymore. And now they can fight side to side in order to destroy Yemen. Eventually they will come in, and Iberia will make landings in southern Chile. And eventually, this Yemenese colony will surrender over to, just for simplicity, everybody, which will look something like this. Now if we go to Africa and Yemenese colony, that's not supposed to happen. Irish troops will invade from South Africa into Yemen. And so, if I get the color, Iberia not only invades Madagascar, but also Mozambique. Iberia takes this area, and the French will also invade into Yemen. Yemenese troops, seeing this, are going to rapidly try and escape from Yemen. But it's too late. They're captured and brought to African camps of prisoners as prisoners of war. Yeah. Bulgaria will also invade into Yemen, specifically these African colonies, to make their African colony even bigger. Yeah. And then the Iberians will use Madagascar and the Americas to land in Australia. And eventually, Yemenese Australia will be forced to fall. And again, some of those people become prisoners of war. It's time to go back to Poland. Nope, not like that. Russia invades into the Scandinavian areas and down into the Black Sea. They will continue to do this until all of Scandinavia, up to about this point, is taken by the Russians. And the Russians will also continue to purge and push in even more into Poland. But then something else will happen in the Gold Team. Rebellions against the alliance, the Lightning Alliance. These rebels want to be parts of all sorts of alliances: Circle, Square, and even Triangle. They will invade and take over the rest of the Gold Team. And now all of these troops, millions of troops, are purging in to everywhere. Red Team Empire troops will start to go in. They invade Denmark, and then this Scandinavian area is forced to surrender. And eventually more and more Scandinavian, Finnish, Russian troops. What did I just say? Oh no. Will continue to push in, and Poland becomes the only country left in the Lightning Alliance. And then Russia goes in. The Battle of Warsaw, even though that's not what Warsaw is, the Battle of the City begins. And eventually, after over a month of fighting for the city, Russia takes the capital of Poland. And quickly, Poland will be very quick to attempt and surrender, and eventually attempt to fight back, but eventually Poland is forced to surrender. And then Russia is going to make peace with the Circle Alliance in order, with an agreement of some land, to lose some land and allies. Yeah. Now all of that's left is Yemen, I think. Iran makes agreements with Russia that they stop fighting. And also, Alaska here, Yemen is sending all the troops out, and eventually the French invasion of Alaska goes very successfully despite the cold. And eventually, Iberian troops will continue to go in throughout Africa, specifically the Ugandese and Horn of Africa area. And then Yemen has been pushed back all the way to their roots, all the way just to Arabia. No more Indian Ocean Empire. Let's do the battle. The War of Yemen. The Battle of Yemen will start. As many troops from every side will invade. Iran lands in the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, in order to take the old lands back of the UAE and Oman. They will take this area and continue to push. Then Arabian rebels will push some provinces of Yemen will rebel away from Yemen. They're tired of this massive Yemenese empire ruling the world. They want to be independent. They've been trying to be independent, and Yemen hasn't let them. They push them all the way back to the capital. If I will make this look a little bit nicer. Yeah. They will push them all the way back to the capital, and eventually Yemen is pushed all the way back to where they started. All the way back to where they started. What they were a long, long time ago when they first formed, like many dozens of episodes ago, millions of troops from around the world are purging into Yemen in order to get rid of the empire. The empire of Yemen is falling. The battle of the Yemenese capital begins. As rebellions will continue to go in, they will surround the capital and take the coastline. And if we zoom in more, the battles, Yemen has millions of troops within this tiny area. This is going to be the worst battle of the war. As they push in, eventually the capital of Yemen is fully taken. And this will force Yemen to surrender, which that is the end of World War I. Well, 20 million people died in that one battle. Yes. After all of months of fighting in that area, millions of deaths, hundreds of thousands of troops dying, it's over. World War I has ended. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. It was sure a long one. As of now, the recording is almost an hour, and the video will be almost an hour. So, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. See you in the next episode, which will be sometime today, for the peace treaty of World War I. Let's say it again. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. See you in the next episode, and bye.